What's up, guys? Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel in DC. I'm Hassan. This is Isaiah, and we're going to be talking about Black Panther 2. Me and him just left the theater, and I'm filming this without even asking Benny if I'm going to film this or not, if I'm supposed to film this or not. I leave on a trip tomorrow, so I was not going to be there for the regularly scheduled Black Panther 2 review. So I figured, let's talk about it now because me and him just finished watching it. We also finished having a 45-minute discussion with our friends in the parking lot of the movie theater. Yes. So, Isaiah, let me start with you. How did you like Black Panther 2?
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting to.
Same. I went into that movie expecting another trash CGI fest with a bunch of dopey one-liners. And I say this as a person who's been like a huge vocal Marvel fan for ages, but I've really kind of struggled with the newer stuff here and there. So I was expecting kind of a bum deal. And oh my God. It was great. It was great.
It like pulled on all the emotional heartstrings it was supposed to. It looks fantastic. It sounded fantastic. It was acted incredibly. I don't know what else.
It was, yeah. It really just like, it was a beautiful performance by everybody involved, from Winston Duke as M'Baku to Angela Bassett as the Queen, as Her Majesty, and Letitia Wright did great. I don't. So Letitia Wright has some political controversies and things that I'm not a big fan of. So I went in this movie like I didn't want her to be Black Panther because I didn't want to deal with that actress getting more fame. I didn't want that actress to take on the shoes of Chadwick Boseman, who's known to be the most agreeable and the most affirmational and incredible, cast or a cast member person that's ever been put to film. People talk about how amazing he is on set, how humble he is, and all this thing. And there was a lot of reports of Letitia Wright not even showing up to set because they refused certain things. And I don't feel like getting into an AMD video because Benny would get upset with me. But she did a lot of things that I didn't agree with. So I really did not want to root for them. Their performance was spectacular. I think they really got the grief of what it is like to lose somebody like that, someone so important, down to a T. I felt the emotion on her. And more so than her, I think we talked about this at length, Lupita Nyong'o. Nakia was the heart and soul of this film. Yes. When Nakia had her emotional moments both with the Queen and at the end, which, guys, this is a spoiler review. I don't know if that was clear. Maybe Benny's going to do a non-spoiler review. I'm doing spoiler review.
We're talking about this.
Nakia's performance when she was talking to the Queen and then talking to Shuri at the very end, I was like trying so hard not to cry.
Yeah, I felt like I wasn't supposed to be crying at this because I wasn't synthesizing my emotions well throughout this movie because it was a lot to take in, especially if you know about everything surrounding it.
Yeah, like I was hurting. I was really affected when the first Black Panther movie came out. I remember just loving it. I remember loving Chadwick and becoming very attached to him as an actor. Obviously, parasocial relationship, so I'm not hurting anywhere near as much as the family and whoever else is involved in, especially the people who went on to make this amazing film. But I hurt. I was very sad, and it was like the first big celebrity death in my life that affected me like very sincerely, very personally. Likewise. And then seeing this film, it felt like a really beautiful homage to him. And I was one of the people that was on a fence of whether recasting was the right approach with this film. Like, do we recast Chadwick Boseman? Because I think the character T'Challa has a lot more steam left in the MCU. I thought that it's important to like, hey, maybe down the road we'll get like a Storm, King T'Challa like marriage and like a lot of important stuff is going to happen. And we lose that by not recasting him. We lose a lot of the potential for the future. But I walked out of this film very, very satisfied, really content.
So let's get into the story, shall we?
Yeah, and we on AMD we don't go beat for beat plot wise because Benny just doesn't like that. I don't know, but so generally like. The story was really well thought out.
Agreed.
I wasn't this is the first time in a long time I kind of as a movie goer and as a person who reviews stuff online and a person who's been consuming so much media over the last several years, I kind of just know the plot to stuff as I'm watching it. I feel like I'm being fed the plot like points so I know how they're going to pay off in the third and fourth act, and in this one I read the thing wrong. I didn't understand it. In the last big set piece that they're having this incredible fight on
a big old Wakandan ship.
Yeah, a big old Wakandan ship, which in my brain I was like, why are you fighting in water against water people? But it makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense in the narrative. But I thought maybe she was gonna lose this fight, and that she had received the wrong message from Killmonger, and that she was gonna win the next fight. Like there was gonna be a third fight. And no, she won that fight, and they turned it around that like she both received the message from Killmonger, and it was a valid message when it was held up by the nobility and the love of T'Challa as well as the Queen. Something with an R. I don't know how to say it.
One thing that's been like scratching at the back of my mind is the fact that she was like really like stabbed, like all the way through her abdomen, and then she's just fine.
Well,
I think that I know they had to do some kind of.
Well, they put the Kamoya beads on her, so the Kamoya beads do a lot of different stuff for health. Like that's why she was, asking for Nakia's Kamoya beads when Nakia shot the sonic rifle at the I don't remember what's the place called, Telecom.
I can't pronounce that.
I don't know.
Like
I don't remember. I'm sure it's going to become just like something seared in my brain. The pseudo Atlantis for this film, the pseudo Atlantean woman, when she had gotten shot, she was going to use the Kamoya beads to heal her. So I think that the Kamoya beads, like the Wakandan suit or the Black Panther suit is made of what the Kamoya beads made of. It's made of vibranium. Okay. So it's not going to heal her. It's not going to save her. It's certainly going to give her like life preventative measures because she was still limping. She was still weak. It should kill you.
Yeah.
But
I was just confused
also the power, the Black Panther. Like it's, I was trying to, I don't want to do the Forrest Whitaker voice. I stopped halfway through. There's so many cringy people we knew back in 2018 when we watched this movie that were like constantly the whitest people ever, and they're like, the power, the Black Panther, and it was like, please stop making fun of Forrest Whitaker. I get you like the movie and you're trying to tell me you like the movie, but stop. I enjoyed that. The action for me was amazing.
Ooh, okay, so when they first start their first attack, the pseudo-Atlanteans first attack Wakanda.
The horror or the Wakandan fight or the ship fight?
Oh, I didn't even.
We forgot about this.
Talk about that.
We'll talk about the ship first because it's the opening of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, insane.
That was.
It was a horror movie
thing I've ever seen in a Marvel movie before. Probably.
Yeah, which Multiverse of Madness was a horror movie, and I think that this is legitimately scarier.
Is actually like eerie, creepy kind of stuff.
Oh my God, and like they sold it, and they were just murdering people in this movie.
Yeah, so it's like they're like doing a siren call where they're like, if you're out on the ship and you can hear what they're singing, you can just be under their influence, I suppose.
Yeah, well, it's literally the myth of the siren, right? That you hear the call of the siren, you go to their will, and you usually die because of it.
It's that.
Yeah. And that was creepy as all hell and like terrifying because like the helicopter couldn't go. They pulled the helicopter back.
Yes.
Or now we know because he can fly. Like he threw the helicopter back down.
Yeah, I didn't know. I couldn't tell what was in the sky at first. I know that was intentional.
Which, since we're talking about him flying, I thought the flight looked awesome.
Yes.
I love the way he was like bouncing back and forth and like zooming up.
Kid Icarus kind of.
Like,
bouncing around kind of deal.
It was so cool. I love that. I love that set piece, and I like the action of that. But the first Wakandan fight, you can get into this one.
Yes. Okay. So when it's like a flood is starting to happen, when they're at like the shore with all the markets and whatnot, and then you just see like one of their faces and go underwater, and they're like blue, and they're like creepy as hell.
Oh my God, they're terrifying. They're so terrifying. And the Marvel Universe has kind of set a precedent for blue people that are powerful with the Kree, because we've got the Kree in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., then we got the Kree in Captain Marvel, and now we have them again, which is crazy. I don't think they're Kree, actually. I'm so sorry. Redact that. Please don't yell at me in the comments. I don't think they're Kree.
But these blue folks
these blue fucks. Sorry, continue. No. I'm not supposed to cuss on the show.
I was wondering if we could cuss or not. But these folks were fantastic. It was so cool to hear the language being spoken like that, because you don't really see indigenous language being spoken in modern films so much.
I actually, when I was a kid, we went to Rivera Maya in the Yucatan, so I've like been to a lot of the Mayan pyramids. I was very obsessed with Mayan culture growing up, so I didn't do a ton of research into Namor's background, and I know that some of it was changed for this movie, and that Namor as a character is an Atlantean, and it's Atlantis that he's the king of, and this one we went a different route with it, but I really enjoyed the propping up of Mayan culture. I like that we didn't shy away from, the colonization of it, and that being the crux of the story, and I think the villain of the story more so than the Namor and his crew, his people, are the U.S. government and the government in general in the world. And I think that speaks something that, was shown up in, the Captain America shields behind me. It showed up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that the government intervention on a lot of things is really a problem. And it paints a mirrored image to what the real world was. So I really, really appreciated the social commentary that kind of went along with that.
There's a scene at the beginning with the Queen Mother, and she's at the UN.
Awesome scene.
And we had just seen French soldiers attacking a Wakandan outpost.
Yeah, a Wakandan
Mali.
ambassador outpost where they're trying to help people.
Yeah, where they're trying to help people with their technology, and the French were trying to get the
Wakandan tools,
vibranium in there.
Vibranium tools.
Yes.
And then the Dora Milaje, like pulling up with the staffs. Oh my God, those women, those workout routines. Amazing. Every single one of them, it looks so powerful on screen. And I think that there's often this like jokey thing that happens, and a lot of people who review these kinds of things get really upset that like this woman is 90 pounds soaking wet, or people used to get really mad at Arrow because it would be like a really small girl like Katie Lotz as Sarah Lance, and she'd throw a guy who's 6'5" like over her shoulder like with ease. I think it was my cousin actually. He's kind of a weird guy, but he would get really angry about that. And in this one, there is no questioning that in real life those actresses could beat the ever-loving hell out of me.
Yeah, no, they're not just some. No.
Yeah, no, they're powerful, powerful women, and oh my God, did they do amazing. I mean, Okoye in this movie just got to me. Okoye, every time, like you could tell she's mourning the loss of King T'Challa. She's mourning the fear that's in her eyes when she loses Shuri, which we'll talk about the losing Shuri scene. That whole action set piece. Wow. The fighting in the streets at MIT.
That was, it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. I know Marvel CGI has not been what it used to be. And you look at Iron Man 1 and you see this like CGI that clearly just took a lot of time and effort in, and every like CGI piece of metal looks like real metal. It's worn down, it's weathered. It looks so real, and we haven't gotten that in a while. And complain how you want to complain about it. I know a lot of people really turn to like the Endgame nano suit. I actually like that looking like that because it's supposed to be something that's so sci-fi it could never exist. But in this movie, it felt like the budget was back. It felt like the artistry was back along with it. Shout out to my friend Pyro. He's in this movie. Really? He plays one of M'Baku's 4 men that's with him when he comes to the throne. That's a guy that I know. I met him in LA. Really good friend.
That's dope.
Super proud of Pyro. Hope you're watching this. I know he watches AMD too. So Pyro, you did awesome as being one of M'Baku's men, the Jabari. He killed it as one of the Jabari. But it was... The whole action set piece, like, it just looked beautiful. It looked beautiful for time. I didn't like Riri Williams' suit, and I thought that looked wonky. And I didn't like Okoye's suit that much at the end either.
They did look a bit like too superhero-y.
Yeah.
It was like really, really colorful, and I get it's like an African, like that's fine, but it just didn't. Yeah.
That said, I loved it regardless.
Yeah,
I loved it regardless.
Everything like overall about this movie is like.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And for me, and this is a personal opinion that doesn't need to be argued in the comments where it's like, you're wrong for this. I put this above the first Black Panther movie in my own personal opinion. And obviously, this is the first time viewing. I remember thinking Black Panther was a revolutionary, the most amazing film I'd ever seen when I'd first seen it. And then I watched it a couple more times and I didn't like it as much. So maybe I won't like this one as much down the road. But right now, I thought this was an incredible film. I think it's my top of my list for Phase 4 if you're not counting Spider-Man No Way Home, because that movie's the top of every list I've ever made in my life. I love that movie. You guys can sit there and be mad at me all day, every day. Love that movie. But this movie was it was special. I mean, I wanted to cry every time Nakia was on screen. I just felt for the Queen. I felt for Shuri.
All these actors and actresses have such a good ability to have this undercurrent of grief, and it's it goes so well with everything they're doing.
It feels real. And for any of you that have grieved anybody in the last couple of years, it's going to feel palpable. It's going to feel powerful. It's going to feel similar to how you felt in real life. At least that's how I took it. I thought performances were immaculate. Set pieces were immaculate. And I just overall, I really, the music is something is incredible in this film. The music in this film, and it's like a mix of African tribal music, hip hop, and indigenous tribal music, which is really, really cool. I'm a big fan of that. Just being able to bring that into the MCU and bring it into the world at large, because a lot of people haven't been able to appreciate another culture's music. It's very different than what we listen to down here in the US of A, but it was beautiful. And I thought Shuri's suit, incredible.
Yeah.
Looked so good. Gold is fire. When Killmonger's suit in the first movie, I was like, I know I'm supposed to root for Chad, but look at this man's gold on his suit. Yeah, and Shuri pulled up with the gold of Killmonger and the silver of T'Challa and the white dots of herself. Incredible
Very
look.
Good symbolism as well.
And the left field Killmonger returns.
Yes.
Michael B. Jordan
Michael B.
returned
Jordan was sitting
as
up
the
there
man in the ancestral plane.
Mhm.
Yeah. It was
lovely.
awesome. Did you are you a big Michael B. Jordan fan?
Yeah. I like he and this director together.
Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler.
Him and
yes.
Ryan Coogler are something special. They have long-standing relationships. Ryan Coogler, one of his first films was Creed, or one of his first big films was Creed, and that was with Michael B. Jordan. And the success of that film franchise directly led into him getting Black Panther and him bringing Michael B. Jordan on. Michael B. Jordan was my fan casting for T'Challa forever ago. I really wanted him to be T'Challa, and then Chadwick pulled up, and I was like, Chad's the best. Chad's the best for this role. I'm still holding out hope, and this is something I want, and you guys can not want it too, but I really want maybe like some multiversal situation to happen down the road during Secret Wars and all the multiverse stuff, and maybe we get Michael B. Jordan as like Eric Killmonger, who was raised in Wakanda alongside T'Challa, and then that universe gets wiped out for whatever reason, and he moves into the mainline universe, and he's like he's like the Black Panther again, and that's
official prediction.
Right. That's it's a cool idea. That said, I'm going to give Letitia Wright props. Letitia Wright did amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I do not agree with anything about their personal life, but as an actor and as an art, this is a situation where I'm separating the art from the artist wholesale, because this performance was amazing. I mean, it was genuinely breathtaking and stunning. You could feel the grief, the gritting the teeth, she had not dealt with T'Challa's death until the end of that film. Nowhere near it. Did not come to terms with anything that he had said. And then it all hit her. And it was so stunning. And again, I cannot get over the action, the set pieces. I felt like Wakanda looked a little small in this movie.
Yeah.
It felt like a much smaller nation than they made it out to be.
Not as many buildings in the capital this time, it felt like.
Yeah, and maybe I need to go back and rewatch it, so like, maybe there's context need to be given, but Wakanda felt a little tiny in this one, and it didn't look as monumental as it did in the first film. I really liked Nakia's storyline, that she had left. So I think it's implied that she was pregnant when T'Challa disappeared.
Yeah.
During the snap.
Yeah.
She moved to Haiti during that time. The queen knew that and met the baby, and the queen looks like the queen never died. The queen never was snapped. Shuri was snapped away, I think, right?
Yeah, I think
Shuri was definitely snapped away, because she would have had, Nakia had dealt with Chadwick's loss, or T'Challa's loss 2 times, which is why she was saying, in the event of my death, like, the son, what was the name? Tucson, yes. Tucson. Yes. Tucson was prepared, and he said that was his non-Wakanda name. His Wakanda name was T'Challa. So maybe this is the MCU's way of like slipping in another T'Challa, and like we can make this comic book T'Challa, which is kind of a cool idea. It's gonna be a long time before that pays off. Maybe Kid Panther shows up in the Avengers something. Yeah, we'll be an old man like Benny Potter. Oh, geez, what an old guy, huh?
Grave, man.
Foot in the grave all day. Those of you guys don't know, Benny and Isaiah are like best buds. We went on a little trip together, and they had a whole little bromance. I'm not even a part of that, but
fun boy,
great guy. Let us know your thoughts. Also, if it feels like this is an overlap video, like Benny shared a lot of the same opinions or differing opinions, whatever it might be, sorry about that.
He was so rambly too. We're just
no, and I think they appreciate that. And we're going on 18 minutes for this, so I'm gonna wrap it in a second. But I didn't ask Benny permission to film this. I'm just gonna film this and send it to him before I leave on my trip, because I'm gonna be gone, and maybe he'll appreciate the extra upload. But guys, my name's Hassan. This is Isaiah. This has been absolutely Marvel and DC. There are sponsors, and hopefully either Benny and them clip something for sponsors, because I don't remember the new sponsor's name and stuff. But seriously, appreciate you guys always. Let us know your thoughts, and let us know your thoughts on our thoughts. I know I'm not supposed to, but I do read the comments still. So,
I know.
Yeah, he doesn't. So, all right. See you guys later. Bye.